Good evening, Fox and Foxesses. How the devil are we? You notice I didn't say good evening there. Let me take you back, guys. Let me just take you back. The last time we were bottom of the league was the 11th of April 2015. That was the last time we were bottom of the league, just before we were to go on later that day, beat West Brom 3-2 and do the Great Escape. We've not been bottom of the Premier League since that time. On the 23rd of February 2017, we were 17th and Ranieri got sacked. If West Ham beat Aston Villa tomorrow, we will be bottom of the Premier League again. Hashtag just saying. This is Leicester Till I Die with the post-match reaction. Yeah, that is a scary thought, isn't it? I mean, if we go on history, he's got to go. If we go on that performance, should we have beaten 10 men? Probably not. Did we have the chances to beat 10 men? Of course we did. Did we put them away? No. Do we need to not play Vardy for 60 minutes and just have him coming on for the last 10? Possibly. Why take off one of your best players and put on a defensive midfielder with a minute to go till the 90 minutes are up? It's the life of following Leicester City. This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Thank you for watching and thank you for listening if you're doing that on your favourite podcast platform. If you are on YouTube, please give us a subscribe. We would be ever so grateful, and smash those likes as well. This is where you can find us.
Watch us on YouTube. Listen on your favourite podcast platform. Or ask your smart speaker to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die. Broadcasting live worldwide.
Well, Brad, bottom tomorrow if West Ham get a win against Aston Villa. He would have to go, wouldn't he, looking at Ranieri?
Ranieri had us bottom in October, though, didn't he? This is 4 games into the season, and yeah,
we were
lost.
Bottom with Ranieri. We were 17th.
Yeah, well,
it was February.
We were a long way into that disaster at that point, and there could then be the case of argument saying, well, before the disaster gets any worse, maybe we should, but you need to see a reaction, and given everything that's happened with our club over these last 3 days, let alone the last couple of weeks or months, these 3 days have been worse. And today, at least, for the complete 90 minutes, despite what happened on the pitch and despite the result they came away with, there was effort from minute 1 to minute 90. You know, I will be freely said it. I think I went 2-2 on the actual prediction show, but I've been saying all week, I thought Chelsea were going to slaughter us. 3-4 could have been worse. There's ways to lose a game, we say sometimes, Chris. Yes, this didn't pay. Yes, we were still exposing our painful frailties with lack of confidence, etc., and other things on field. But that's a way that if you're going to lose a game, you can come away and take positives from it, in my opinion, because I've got to applaud the commitment of an effort of everybody, because when they went 2-0, even with 10 men, you for that couple of minutes until Barnes got us, back in it, you were thinking, God, if he slaughtered us 2 or 3-0 with 10 men, he would have been done. He'd have lost the confidence. You feel like they're still fighting here, and maybe that's just the first of a lot of corners that Leicester need to turn to get the season on track. Getting rid of a rat seems to have helped the atmosphere in morale a little bit, because
time I think will tell on that one, because this is one game and it was against Chelsea with everything that's gone on. So maybe they had a point to prove. Maybe. I was struggling watching the actual match on my link on the Fire Stick. It kept freezing, so I was following it on the graph, and I must admit, and I didn't say anything at half time because, 2 people can watch the same game and come away with 2 different views of it. We know that. That's football. And we're going to come to comments in a minute about this. But at half time, you were so upbeat about Leicester, and I'm thinking, are you watching a different game to me? Because all I'd seen on the screen was dangerous attack for Chelsea, 70% possession for Chelsea. In that first half, I don't think we actually offered much until we got the sending off.
Honestly, we did. And yeah, Chelsea saw a lot of the ball and they were the better side in that first half. But the reason I was so upbeat, Chris, wasn't necessarily because Leicester were playing silky football, because it was far from it. We were giving the ball away in midfield like we normally do. We were getting too under each other's feet at times and giving the ball back to Chelsea. And Chelsea could have scored 3, but we could have scored 3. It was a ding-dong of a first half. And minus that 20 minutes in the second half where it all went pear-shaped in terms of Chelsea grabbing the goals and looking comfortable, it was like that for the majority of the match. And this is what I mean by stats and graphics don't always tell the story, because we could have been 1-0 up, they could have been 1-0 up, it could have been 3-3 at half time. In the end, we came in 0-0. What I saw today was Leicester not willing to throw it away and have each other's back. I'm going to quote a very cliched movie here, but sometimes it proves what happens when you mess with the family, because Leicester were flying in full-blooded with tackles. They didn't look scared of Chelsea. They didn't look scared of the ball. They were putting the problems on the pitch to a side, but trying to do everything they could in keeping that ball, in trying to be positive and trying to really get a result from today. And that was why I was so pumped. It was a brilliant... I even said to you, didn't I, Chris? I forgot at some points that I actually supported one of the teams, because I felt like I was watching a game as a neutral. It was just chucking one on because there's nothing else on it. It's like a 5:30 kick. It was a brilliant first half as a neutral to watch.
Well, like I say, I mean, I'm not going to argue, because I was literally seeing clips, and so I was tending to concentrate on the graphic. But I must admit, I do feel we were watching different matches. And that's not to say that you're wrong or, I'm right or whatever. It's the way we all see games. We all, exactly. Like I say, you can get 20-odd people watching the same game and coming up with 20 different opinions about it. Scott says we need somebody like Manuel Ajenki in a defence. Well, who knows? We may be getting him. And hopefully a bit more money left over, because he's only 20 million, so a bit of money left over to buy a winger. At least the boys put in a good effort this week. Good evening, Neil. How are you? Gray, welcome back, sir. I thought you not had enough of me today. Welcome back, sir. Hopefully history doesn't have to repeat itself. Rodgers was playing for the defeat. This has been going on ever since last season. Europe and injuries papered over the cracks. Your cam's gone again, Brad.
Shit, sorry, mate. 1 second.
Daniel said after the game, we keep shooting ourselves in the foot. Question is why? I don't know. I mean, listening to sort of what you were saying there, Brad, it wasn't that we played well. It's just we weren't as bad as we normally were.
No, we weren't. And off the back of 2 results, it was one of them that, well, no, there was the 3 games. It was, we talked about in the Southampton game that Leicester played really good flowing football and controlled the game for 60 minutes and then lost it within 30. And then unfortunately we played, I wouldn't say well, as in we still, is that bad as my camera back? Just making sure.
Yeah, it's back now, mate. Yeah.
It wasn't like that in terms of quality of performance, because we gave the ball away. We allowed Chelsea to have that ball, and Chelsea were the makers of their own downfall in the sense of Gallagher getting rightfully sent off for 2 silly yellow cards, and here we count these lucky stars from his perspective that they went on to win the game. But when you just watch us play dog shite against Arsenal, dog shite for 30 minutes against Southampton, and dog shite for the majority of the game against Brentford, to get a consistent 90 minutes and to see them players, after all the rumours of the owners are selling, which they're not, of all the discontent and everybody wants out, and it's a fire sale, it's a fire drill, which it, all in all isn't. Yes, the finances are tight, but it's not a flipping fire sale. We've got the big money, or will be having the big money, so that's sorted for a bit. The team unity was split. Apparently, to see the performance of that after the way they could have just gone out there, slumped, not giving, and gone 1-0 down, gone 2-0 down, and thought, oh, well, I don't care if it's 10 men, sod it, let's not put the effort in. And to see the fact that they kept going, in the end, mate, like I said to you, it reminded me of that 4-3 defeat to Spurs when, in that great escape that you started talking about in your intro there, in the case of it was just not going to happen. We're on the wrong side of form, and when you're on the right side of form, Leicester turned that game around and win it 3-2, in my opinion, for the way we went about it at 2-0 down.
It's a very difficult thing as the owner of a football club to work out the best time to sack a manager. You know, I know. I feel. Don't get me wrong here. I feel like I'm a Watford director or the Watford owner at the moment. You know, 4 games in, we sacked the manager. It's just we did not have this bad a start under Ranieri in that season. We sacked him. You know, we started 17th, but that was after 1 game. So I don't know. I just think, you know,
I think the football was worse though under Ranieri. Just chime in on that.
Was it?
Yeah.
Was it? I don't think it was. Not maybe today. And I grant you, you know, once we. I mean, first of all, let me just say, and like I say, it's all about opinions, mate. We know that.
Oh yeah.
And I totally respect yours. But as soon as the second whistle went, and I went, there's been no substitution made. Chelsea have, but they've gone down to 10 men, and we're not going for it. We're not going for the kill. Put 2 strikers. Everybody in the chat was saying put 2 strikers on, put 2 strikers on. And, you know, we didn't. And yet then suddenly the team, and I know it happens, but the team with 10 men caught us with our knickers down on the toilet again, because within like a minute of the kickoff, they went up and scored. And I'm like, how many times, you know, are we going to be letting in goals this season, either straight from a kickoff or straight after we scored a goal? Yeah. They then went and got the second one. I mean, that first goal, in fairness, I mean, Sterling's first goal, I mean, it was I had to take my hat off. Well, not literally, but I had to, it was a great chip by Sterling, into that top corner.
No, it weren't.
You don't think so?
No, he spooned it, mate. He absolutely spooned it. It took a deflection. He absolutely spuffed it. He was trying to bend that in with a nice finesse curl into top. That ballooned up, got a deflection, went over. I felt sorry for Danny Ward. It was unsavable, but for intent, he probably warrants it for the effort, but it wasn't as clean hit as people may have think. As soon as I saw it, I went, you lucky sod. And it's not just because it's Sterling. You could tell by the way the ball trajectory, mate, it took a deflection. That helped.
2 teams today. I'm just watching Arsenal have just gone 2-1 up against Fulham after being 1 down. Manchester City beat Crystal Palace 4-2 after being 2 down. I mean, maybe those are the matches we should be watching on Monday morning up at Seagrave, not our own match. Maybe we should be watching how other teams do it.
I
didn't see the chip. I didn't see the deflection. But then again, like I say, you know, I've got the best read. And in fairness to Barnes, and he's definitely got a deflection. Otherwise, I think Mendy would have got it. Mendy kept them in the game, but after we went 2-0 down, we said, like, is this going to see Leicester drop our heads? And I jokingly said no, because we haven't scored. If we'd gone 1-0 up, we would have dropped our heads. But that was probably, at that point, we literally threw everything at Chelsea.
Yeah.
We were having so many shots on goal. And we're going to come on to the stats later. But we it was like, you know, like I usually say, like, you know, Leicester aren't good enough when they've only had this many shots, blah, blah, blah. Then, you know, that was Chelsea today. We did do it, but maybe we need changes. Rene says here, Vardy almost scored. Is that going to be his epitaph at Leicester City? Vardy scored, because every time I saw it on the graphic, you got shot off target Vardy, shot off target Vardy.
Look, I'm telling you this now, right? we said this backstage, and I'm going to say it now to anybody that wants off the top of me. Chris, you came out on the last show and you've said it since the start of the season that you're going to treat this as a new set of players, almost a fresh slate. You know, what you thought of Perez or what you thought of Vestergaard or X, Y, and Z. We're getting a fair, clean slate to try and prove everybody wrong. And look, Vardy's a golden boy. I get that. Mad respect for him, absolute legend. I'm never going to question that and doubt it. But if Daka and Iniesta had missed the 3 glorious, and I'm calling them glorious chances he had, people would be ripping their hair out. People would be effing and jeffing. They'd be slating that show. They'd be saying that Vardy would have took them chances. This is why we start Vardy. Blah, blah, blah. Second it is, but Vardy nearly scored. No, Vardy had a bad game. Vardy was terrible in front of goal today. Mendy made some good saves.
We're agreeing on something anyway, Brad.
You what, mate?
We're agreeing on something.
Yeah. I'm not going to shadow. I'm not going to, mummy cuddle him because he's a legend of the club. He had a bad game today. And everybody in the comments must admit that if that was Nacho and Daka missing them 3 chances, they'd be ripping into shreds. They're going, he's low on confidence, but this is why Vardy, and you can't do that. You have to play fair.
I've got to be honest with you. When I saw the team that was picked, and we'll go on to the team in a second, but when I saw the team that was picked, I actually thought, I understand why he's picked Vardy. Because can you imagine if, like you say, if he hadn't picked Vardy and we'd have lost, his scout would have been called for from every corner of Leicestershire. So I get why he did Vardy, but at some point, because I could see it, and most people that were in the chat could see it, and people here are saying it, and you've seen it, Vardy was not hitting the target. So finally we brought Iniesta on, because again, in that first half, I didn't see Vardy do much, but you could argue he wasn't getting the ball. And the first time I did see him touch, it was in the centre circle on our half of the pitch. So Iniesta does create that link between midfield and Vardy. But then if Vardy's not hitting the target, why aren't we trying Daka?
Well, maybe that's the thing that goes forward. Look, it just shows as well that it's the confidence throughout the team that's struggling, because a few players chose to maybe try an awkward pass to a more safer option in terms of opportunities towards goal than shooting themselves, and that comes with the results. That's why you can say about the Arsenals and that they're flying on confidence. I know Liverpool today absolutely dismantled Bournemouth. We won't.
Well, we'll mention that. But they could have literally one job, Liverpool. One job. You stopped at 9, because if you'd have scored 10, you'd have taken Man United's record off them. You wouldn't beat our record, because our record is away from home.
Yeah. Someone was telling me that they'd equaled our record. So hold on, I thought they were at home, and they are.
They've equaled the 9-0. There's 4 9-0s. Man United Ipswich was the first. Leicester, Southampton, Man United, Southampton, now Liverpool, Bournemouth. I mean, it was all over after about 5 minutes in that game. That's why we think, Bournemouth are going to go down. But well done, Liverpool. But one job, as they say. Yeah. But they did, as Rennie says there. I didn't mean the Cherries, but yeah, they dismantled them. One positive would be, I thought, says Scott, Ward had a good performance.
Yeah, he can't be blamed for the goals. He made a vital save in that first half. Dare I say, Casper-esque. He swept his legs out. He made himself big, and he put it out for a corner, and he stopped us going in the goal down before half time. Everybody got, and rightfully so, because we're lacking on joy at the moment, but everybody got a little bit too excited with Iverson's very encouraging performance against Stockport, especially in the shootout. But I am glad they stuck by him. And Danny Ward earned his wages this week, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think with Everson, just a sidetrack for 2 seconds. It looks like Arsenal are going to win this game. Just sidetrack for 2 seconds. Everson had nothing to do for 90 minutes. The defence in front of them restricted Stockport, a team that are 6th from bottom of the league, of the 4th tier of English football, and are virtually looking like they could be going out of it. They limited them to 4 shots and only 1 on target. And then he made some saves in the penalties, which Ward has done in the past. But anyway, that's another topic for another day. And we will be going through the players' performances at the end, as we always do now on this show. Jake, good evening. How are you? Small come of comfort. Roger saying Samari is very keen on staying, but maybe another manager could unleash his potential better. Oh, is that what he said? That's a bit like, I don't want you, really, isn't it?
That's very strange. Why would you, as the manager, say I've got a player that I signed that wants to stay, but I can't get the best out of him? You know what? If that's what you're saying or suggesting, Rogers, then do us a favour and stop giving us this false hope. And maybe it's not all. Stop making us play the violin for you. That feels like you've reached your limit. If that's the case, let the board know so we can give you your P45 and bring someone else in. That's disconcerting.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe others take that a different way when they read that, but that just sounds disconcerting the way that's.
Gray says Vardy and Marty will play against you. I don't get this, Marty, and I say I'm not criticising Marty.
No, I'm not,
because it's at the end of the day, 4 against Arsenal, only 2 against Chelsea. But I think you could argue 10 men, etc.
Yeah,
but I just don't get why Amati and Evans is an emergency pairing. As Facebook user says here, why I don't know why Cags isn't playing. All I'll say is, Mark Albright and Nigel Pearson. I think it's one of those where something's been said, he's upset, he's stubborn as an ox, and he was refusing to play him for some reason. Could be that his head's been turned a bit like somebody else we know.
Well,
I don't know.
Well, I would say, and obviously you didn't get to see this, Chris, so I will let you know. When Johnny Evans went down with that injury after he made a beautifully timed tackle to stop Chelsea countering away, I must say, Kagler Saintry was sent up to warm out.
He did.
And when he was jogging up and down the pitch and Leicester fans chanted his name, he came over with a smile and he applauded them for cheering his name. So I wouldn't say there's any unrest in terms of him having his head turned or not being happy at Leicester, but the stubborn old Brendan might be the issue.
He didn't do bad against Stockport, but it was only Stockport. I saw him do that. I saw him applauding. Unfortunately, because of copyright, I couldn't be listening to what they were saying. And to be honest with you, it would be in Chinese anyway, so I couldn't have understood it. But I would have heard the crowd, but I couldn't. So I saw him applaud, and well done to him. I'd like him to stay, definitely. But let's have a look at some of the old Stataroonies then. Guys, as I say, there's a couple of new people that are in. Please, if it's your first time, remember to subscribe. And if it isn't your first time, do press the like button. And if you've got nothing else better to do tonight while you're waiting for match of the day and you're watching Liverpool do nothing but score against Bournemouth and you're waiting for the Leicester game, then just click on footballcontentawards.com/voting. Top right is the best new football content creator. And if you would like to just give me a bit of a like, I would love you forever. And if you don't want to, I'll love you even longer. So there we go. That's the threat. Right. So, we know it was Chelsea 2, Leicester 1. What did you think of the team? Let's have a look at that, because when the team was brought up, I'm like, basically, I am Marty. Seriously.
I mean, yeah. But again, I feel sorry for Marty. He keeps being put on the wrong side. I also don't blame Marty too much. He's the scapegoat this season, it seems, because he's been played out of position and he seems to be in the areas he makes bad mistakes. First of all, I'm not going to say he had a good game, because he certainly didn't in a lot of areas. But the mistakes that we keep making and the frailties of our congested passing and our inability to sometimes make simple passes are happening 2 yards in front of the poor lad. And where he's the pressing defender and Evans is the holding back defender, sometimes I think he overcommits to trying to get back if Leicester get caught out. And that's what leaves that space open, especially for the second goal. He goes to try and deal with it alongside Evans instead of holding back. but he's also meant to be on that side, and Evans is technically covering him. And just put him on the flipping right, Brendan. We might not get, you might not have a skate. Maybe that's why he's putting him on left, so he has a flipping scapegoat. I don't know, but God,
on the stat that came, Arsenal have won, by the way. On the stat that came up, he was actually Evans was on the left when it showed it on the thing I was using online. But I just want to say, Q says here, apologies, I'm thinking maybe another manager could unleash it better. That wasn't the rest of the quote.
I was like, Jesus, that sounds... You gave me an heart attack, and I thought my heart sung. I thought we were going to get Sean Nice.
It did sound a little bit odd, I've got to admit, But then again, this is Brendan. Nothing would surprise us about Brendan, would it? Grace says, remember Amati against Forest, he has been getting worse. Please don't lose to Man United after transfer window. It's on the day of the transfer window, I don't get that at all. It was good to see Samari in. It was also good to see Pratt as well, Barnes and Dewsbury Hall. But I couldn't understand the Martin. It's like I say, to me, he was my most improved player last season.
Yeah.
As you know, I was not sure whether it was yours or not. There was a couple of us went for him.
Yeah, I think I did. I think I did go for him, but I definitely had him at one point, thinking he was going to be my favourite, most improved.
And let's just say this, Brad, because everybody's going on about the fact that Chelsea were down to 10 men. It is harder sometimes to beat 10 men than it is 11.
Yeah.
We got our shooting boots on, like we said, Perez hit the bar, Vardy was going everywhere, but within the the three wooden posts. We could have won it, but how often do we see going down to 10 men and those 10 men come on and win it?
I remember a Fond game. See if Leicester fans can remember this from being on the other end of a 10-men thing. Stoke play acting, get Vardy sent off. Stoke go 2-0 up. Leicester down to 10 men. The full-time result was Stoke City 2, Leicester City 2. We've benefited and played better and been harder to deal with when you go down to 10. And yeah, it's disappointing. And yeah, I was gutted that we ended up losing against 10 men. But whether we like it or not, Chelsea have that edge of quality and better experience. I know I sound like Brendan saying the word experience is his favourite go-to word, but on that pitch, and they were still a dangerous side with 10 men. They know how to keep the ball, and that didn't change too much throughout the game. Yeah, Leicester had a 15-minute burst, probably more towards the end, when their hearts were out at 2-1, where Leicester flipped the possession on its head. But Chelsea have always been a side that usually can keep the ball regardless of the men on the pitch, whether it's 11 or 10. And you also have to take your hat off to Chelsea because they defended doggedly like a team with 10 men for that last 15 minutes.
Yeah.
When Barnes got us back in the game.
Yeah. Gray says here, Cags will be clumsy, but he's better than Amati. I just think, for me, Amati is very much a stand-in. He's not a starter. He's very much a coming on, if you need an extra defender on or if somebody's injured. But to me, if you've got a left-sided position available and you've got a left footer sat on the bench picking his arse, then get him on. That's just my thought, because sometimes you can say, well, it's better to have maybe somebody that's a better player, even though he's out of position, but it's different feet.
Yeah, I mean, we could analyse it all about what we could give credit to the fact that he's not played on his preferred side, which is right. And you could argue that he's second choice behind Soyuncu. But the way I see it is, you could use examples for it. We just literally are saying that last season he was Leicester's most improved player. He had a really good season, and I think he was. I don't think, is he better than Soyuncu? No, I'm not saying that. But did he deserve to be given the start in our first handful of games because of his efforts of last season. I think he deserved to be on the team sheet first for that reason. Same reason why you don't drop him in Brendan's eyes might be the reason he hasn't dropped Vaughan after a few dodgy mistakes early on in this season. You've got to show faith that they'll come good and show you the qualities that made you pick them in the first place, and why Marty, by a lot of Leicester fan standards last season, was the most improved player. Is his time running short? Maybe Cags gets the opportunity on Thursday. We'll see. But I would still not be surprised if Marty's given another game. I won't spoil it, but for someone who we've been saying we're glad to see on the bench because of his poor performances, look at how he played today. This said player who we know, Alan Pitcher is man of the match, so I won't name, but I'm sure people can figure it out. Look how he performed today. It clicked. It went well. A lot of people praising him. So I'm willing to give it one more. If it's 5 in a row, then there has to be. Swallow your pride and sort it out if it's an issue between you and Cags, Brendan, and he would have to come in for me then.
And when you look at the start that we've got, and we'll come to some more comments after this, but when you look at the start we've got, okay, yeah, we had Brentford and we had Southampton, and maybe we'd be looking for more than 1 point out of those 2 games. But, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United coming up, Tottenham in a few weeks, that's 4 of the top 6 we are playing within the first 6 weeks, 6 games. So it was a tough start, and there's a lot of arguments to say let's get them out the way, sort of thing. Then we've got Brighton, who are doing very well. They beat Leeds today. Manchester United aren't the Manchester United of 2 weeks ago. They are the Manchester United that gave a lesson to Liverpool, and withstood the pressure and got 3 points today as well.
Exactly.
But there's a lot of new people. It seems to be a lot of new people in. Please do subscribe. I keep going on. Please do subscribe if you would be so very, very kind, and smash that likes button as well. Paul is in. Good evening, Paul. How are you? Evening, chaps. I went to watch local gamers, needed a break from City. Swallow Nest FC versus Vauxhall Motors. Was it worth going? What was the score there, Paul? Great. That's another thing, keeping the ball. We have to do that when we are winning. Example, Brentford. Yes, we do. LCFC believer. Even though we didn't win, that was a very dramatic and passionate match. Not going to lie, in the Library Bridge. Fafana, I think we will strengthen. I think we've got the money. We've got 5 days to go and get somebody, or maybe 2 even. We've got the money now. I'm really scared. Obviously, Man United and Spurs, Be interesting, because I say, don't forget, guys, 9 o'clock Monday, like I say, I am interviewing Rob Taylor. No, I'm not. I'm interviewing Rob Tanner from the Athletic, who did a really good piece on what's going on wrong at Leicester. And we'll ask him about whether with that 80 million, we obviously will replace Fafana, but will we get a right winger in as well? We will see. But let's get back to the old figuroonies. Going into this, they hadn't had the best of start, Chelsea, but even if we hadn't got all these problems and we'd have lost 2-1, we've only beaten them something like 8 times out of 32. This is Chelsea, guys. It's like Arsenal. We've only, I think we've won. I think it was 4 games away at Chelsea. We'd only won twice away at the Emirates. Let's. And I know I'm devil's advocate a lot here, but let's get real, shall we say? Do you know what I mean? These aren't games that even we would have won when we were finishing 5th.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I know it's frustrating because because of the form we're in going into this game. You'd like to get to this game and go feeling a bit confident, feeling positive that we could get a draw at Stamford Bridge, which would have been a good draw, and maybe feel a bit hard done by that we didn't get that, to be perfectly honest with you. Our kitchen sink just wasn't strong enough to find that second goal. But like you said, whether we like it or not, records are there, and it's not a happy hunting ground. It hasn't been for generations. It hasn't been a happy hunting ground for Leicester fans to go and sit, and it proved the case again today, unfortunately.
It did. Poor Swallownest lost 5-0. At least you saw some goals, mate. I'm not presuming it was Swallownest that you were supporting, but at least you saw some goals.
Well, they didn't. Well, Swallownest choked on it, didn't they, Chris?
Yeah. Wonder. Okay, move.
That's what you played a second, didn't it?
I did. It was that bad that I didn't even notice it. But you are going to get one of these. I'm sorry, you've just got to, mate. You just deserve it. Have you completely put me off what I was going to say now? Oh, yeah, we're going to get back to Wonderlust's comment here. Kind of surprised Chelsea pulled off the classic Arsenal 10-man style successfully. You didn't look like you outright crumbled when I saw. No, we didn't outright crumble. And, let's have a look. Because I've been using stats recently, Brad, to show the problems Leicester have had, which was number of shots, etc., etc. But when you look at this, you can see at the start, probably up to the sending off, you can see it was all blue on that top graph. I don't know, does my mouse show up when I put my mouse over it?
Kind of.
In that first few minutes on the top line there, if my mouse is going across, I don't know if you can see the arrow.
No, it's now just a still screen.
It's not okay. No, it doesn't. Well, for the first on that line at the top, the blue at the top is Chelsea, and until the sending off, it was all them. Leicester had hardly got a look in, but from then on, it was literally, apart from a little bit, Leicester all the way. And at one point, to say in that first half, it was 70% possession. Or almost for Liverpool. What am I saying? For Chelsea at one point. We got back to having been on top with possession. And I know that doesn't win you the game, but it's going in the right direction, Again, they were nearly 3 times as many attacks as us in that first half. And they ended up the match only 2 in front. Dangerous attacks. Again. And I've only just really studied these figures because at half time, again, they were way, way ahead of us. And I don't know what a dangerous attack is on this company, but, they ended up with 37. We ended up with 74. Shots on target, they had 3. We had 7. Shots off, they had 3. We had, Vardy had 12. When you're looking at that, it was overall a hell of a lot better performance.
Oh, yeah, it was. It really was.
Sorry, Brad. Sorry, 1 second. Wonderlust, no, you didn't get the wah. That was to Brad and his extremely awful joke. Sorry, Brad, do carry on.
I was going to say, yeah, it definitely was a much improved performance. There was the fight and determination throughout the 90. Unfortunately, just for Leicester, just when them little yellow marks started to go, Chelsea got a fluke, punished us, and then we could only get one kitchen sink through the door. We couldn't get another one. We gave ourselves a mountain to climb in a situation where Chelsea did everything after that 25 minutes to give us the initiative, going down to 10 men, and having chances, glorious chances as well, to have got ourselves in front at half time.
Terry, I am so sorry. You're colourblind. As they said on the TV once, if you can't see the blue, then Leicester are the yellow. But all joking aside, we're on the right in the bottom bits from the halfway down. We are the lighter colour, I guess. I don't know what colour you're seeing it as with the colour.
Well, if he's colourblind, he ain't seen nothing.
No, and don't you see them as other colours though? I'm not sure. But and on the top, Chelsea are on the top. We are on the bottom. I'm just going to. Let's have a look. Terry says here. Well, that's the first game where I watched the stocks to see which team had the ball. It wasn't very much a clash of colours. And I still don't like that green shirt. I'm sorry. I love green and black as two colours going together, but not with that check. That check is putting me off 100. It's like a dog collar. It looks like there's 11 vicars going on, or 11 policemen. Anyway, Rennie, we will get first win against Fulham. Cherries and Nottingham Forest. Fingers crossed we will. Okay, this was a long one, so bear with me on this one. I thought we played well, given the opposition. The start to the season, for Fafana Saga and the constant media down, that I was proud of our boys. One downside for me was seeing Jamie not finish any of his chances. I don't think any were particularly clear-cut, but Vardy of old would have finished at least one of those, I'm sure. I thought Chelsea's behaviour at times was nothing short of pathetic, especially Havertz. The game has encouraged me that we can possibly do a lot better than the media. And then you ran out of space then, whoever that is. I'm presuming the media are saying. Brookline, good evening. So how the devil are you? Seemed like BR did not change tactics when we went to man up. Not much changed until the Nacho Perez sub. Now, let me say two things. That was the best performance of the season.
Yeah.
For me, taking into mind, of course, you've got to remember this is Chelsea.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to get this up because I just want to put this into perspective a bit. In fact, I can't do it on that laptop. Let me just do it on this one. Chelsea away. Okay, so, right, what I want to say is, right, going into this game, that we have played Chelsea in the Premier League 32 times. We've drawn 10. We've lost 16. We've won 6. In those 32 games, we've only won 2 away. So when it's 11 versus 11, and okay, maybe 1 or 2 of those wasn't 11 to 11, but let's pretend for a moment they were. That, when you're looking at that, you're going to say, yeah, we're not going to get anything from it. And it's the same with Arsenal as well. What I've got to say is, and despite what we were saying, Brad, about the first half, the second half, we were all over them. Like I say, if Vardy had got his shooting boots on, or maybe Daka would come on, who knows? Yeah. I did see Vardy go around Mendy once, and it was a very tight angle, and he did hit the side netting, but Vardy has scored tighter angles than that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yes, and I agree with Facebook user. It was almost in disbelief that he didn't put one of them 3 big chances he had. Yeah, the one where he decided to take it around Mendy and kind of shoot himself in the foot of the angle was tough. But he did have clear opportunities. And look, it's kind of sod's law with Leicester at the moment. It's sod's law because it's all well and good sitting here going, oh, well, they've got 10 men. Well, we should be changing our formation, going 2 up front. And, oh, well, we waited until we were 2-0 down, and then it was too late. Well, first of all, hindsight's a wonderful thing. Second of all, we were getting a lot more joy in that midfield because Chelsea were a man shy in that middle, and they had to change their shape. You don't know how they're going to do that. Brendan was probably hoping to get through that first 10 minutes so he could analyse how Chelsea have set up, because there's numerous possibilities of how Chelsea could have changed their shape and made their subs. There's no point trying to jump the gun and doing it if Chelsea had gone, well, we're going to put another man in midfield, we're going to go 3 at the back, and we're going to squeeze in midfield and frustrate her. If he'd have weakened that midfield and then it had gone wrong, we'd have been moaning at him for changing it too early. So hindsight's a wonderful thing. It's just right now things aren't going Leicester's way. And that seems to happen when you're not getting results.
And in fairness, Chelsea didn't make their substitution till half time anyway.
No. And also,
but we have got 5 changes. You know, we are allowed 5 subs. So if we do make a sub at that point, it might have given us a couple of chances to maybe score and go in front. But had Chelsea then counteracted that with a sub, then we've got another. You know, we have got these 5 subs.
True.
Again, we made 3 today. The moment you realise that the only good corner that went above the Chelsea defence was scored but was disallowed. Well, that first corner, I mean, again, we got a lot more corners. That stat's not on. Yes, it is. The stat is on there. 3 corners for Chelsea, 11 for us. Hey, we didn't concede from one of theirs. We did score from ours. And we'll come on to that in 1 second. But the first corner that Tielemans took couldn't even get it past the first man. Now, if this is a guy that thinks he's going to want to play Champions League, he's got to do better than that. It didn't even get above the waist of the first Chelsea defender. That said, he did do better than that. Why was that goal called off?
No idea. Honestly, no idea. As a goalkeeper myself, mate, I came on at half-time today. I have no idea. It was a pinpoint cross. It's very rare that Leicester get a cross right, let alone make it pinpoint.
Yeah.
But from the goals we had scored from set pieces last season, you know, from the likes of He Who Must Not Be Named and others that got on the end from these pinpoint crosses, that when we got them right, the ball goes perfectly to Barnes' head. Mendy comes charging out. Free kick, Chelsea, because he took our player out. It baffled me, and I said to you very wrongly, and this is probably the next big thing that's wrong in football, is I felt that, yeah, you might say, look, a little bit of luck, you know, stop Leicester going 1-0 behind when it was 11v11 with that clumsy fall into, and it was a penalty. Yeah. It was rightfully given. This is what I mean by ego in the game outside of the players. I just wonder if maybe the referee thought, well, I was justified to give Chelsea the lead, so I'm going to do them a favour and give the soft, easy decision of keeper's gone down, I'm going to give a free kick because I don't think they deserve the lead, because my decision would have given Chelsea the chance rightfully to give. And I know it sounds stupid and people might say I'm stretching, but that's how these referees have their egos. We all know referees and umpires in other sports. They are different people. They have egos, and maybe they think two wrongs make a right. It's wrong, and it shouldn't happen in football. But that's the only reason I can see he decided to rule the goal out and VAR didn't say what.
Let me take you back. To the Championship winning season and the West Ham game, and Vardy got sent off.
Yes.
And there was a penalty because we were being let's face it, we did do a lot of holding in that season, and it was John Moss that was referee, I'm pretty sure. And the ball went in, and I think it was Robert Huth that was held down or pulled off, and he did pulled off the ball before anybody says anything, and nothing was given. And then 2 seconds later, Jeffrey Schlupp ran down the left, got to the box. I still think was probably outside the box. Softer claim for a penalty, and John Moss gave it because I think he felt guilty not giving the first one, because this was pre-VAR, and realised he'd made a bit of a cock-up.
Yeah, and again, referees like to be justified by the decision-making, and guess what? They would rather them talk about one decision that's questionable and then saying the other one was favourable, because it baffles me that they do it, these pundits, because they'll go down and go, well, it balanced itself out here. What do you think of this? He goes, I think it is a soft penalty. And they say exactly what we said again. It shouldn't balance it out, but it does balance it out. Leicester will feel justified from that. No, we shouldn't feel justified from that. We shouldn't have had a penalty given against us, you know, in that game. And it shouldn't be equaled out by a dodgy or tame penalty given against us. Obviously, at the time, we were delighted and took it. You're going to when these opportunities arrive, but football shouldn't be about balancing it out from your bad decision. You lived that bad decision, and it wasn't like you made a bad decision. Because I'm sitting here saying, as a Leicester fan, Tielemans, clumsy or not, accidental as it may have been, it was a penalty, but offside. So what?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That one did go in our favour. Wanderlust, we did see that Brentford came back. Just as James, who's also an Everton fan, was saying he was nervous. he had good right to be. I just look at that and see the Wanderers fan and think you're a Wolves fan, not an Everton fan. LCFC Gray, again, Joa got the winner. He did. I liked you, Joa. I think he was badly treated by Ranieri. But there we go. Yes, to me, as I say, it shouldn't have. I think, how can a player that is in front of the goalkeeper jumping up straight foul the goalkeeper.
He can't, pure and
Now,
simple.
you're a goalkeeper. You're in this goalkeepers union. You know what I mean? He wasn't backing into him either.
No, the ball was pinpoint. Like I said, he was focused on the ball. The ball, if you'd have asked Harvey Barnes to pick the ball up and hold it exactly where he'd have wanted that ball, just to nod it home and nothing else, and not have to muscle his way, he would have put it exactly where Yuri found him, scored a goal. It's absolutely laughable from an ex-goalkeeper's point of view. It's absolutely laughable that was ruled out. And honestly, people can say it's bitterness. People can say it's blue tinted. It ain't, in my opinion. But if you do, fair dues. You're entitled to your opinion. But for me, the only reason I can see that goal got ruled out is because the referee had that his right decision was turned over by, as one famous New Zealand cricketer once said, by the fairest of margins of a decision.
Yeah. To be honest, I always look at these things and said, would I have gone mad if it was at the other end? And I think if that had been given as a penalty at the other end, I would have been fuming. So yeah, I do get it. Then for their second goal, Sterling's second goal, and we've been, well, certain people have been very critical of Amartey, and it's we live in a society where we're all allowed to have opinions, and we respect other people's opinion, or you should respect other people's opinions, and we do our best to on this channel. Castagna for that second goal, and when I watched it back on slow motion, I saw Amartey ran in the middle, so he got drawn towards the ball. And then Sterling went off behind Castagna, and Castagna was again still in the middle, and he's a right back. So to me, Castagna, I'm not saying he would have been able to stop him at all, but Castagna has to take a lot of blame for that second goal. Yeah,
he does. You can see he was frustrated in not just the game in his press conference afterwards, but he was frustrated at the time, and he has to take the slack for that, because this is the problem. When you're in a slump and you kind of come together, and this was a real family come together, show the unity performance that you see from time to time when clubs are under the microscope the way Leicester are. And unfortunately, again, like I said about Chelsea exposing and exploiting Leicester's frailties before this game in the way they conceded is, maybe the three of them, Evans, Amartey, and Castagna, tried to overcompensate and tried to deal with that problem earlier so they could do the job and reshape then, instead of worrying about the risk of that ball going across the 6-yard box and squirming its way through like it did. And then, unfortunately, there was only one outcome. Sterling was almost laughing that he had the freedom to roll it into the net when he celebrated. His head was tilted back, laughing. He was like, "Oh, that was easy. That was." And unfortunately, when you're so eager to put everything right that it still goes wrong, that happens, unfortunately.
It does, but I just think everybody there was like 3 defenders being drawn to the ball. I'm thinking, like, how many does it take? And look, I'm sat here watching it on the telly. I'm not in there having to make that decision straight away. So, but obviously that's what we're here for. We are here to dissect it. A couple of quick quote and questions here. Matty, evening lads, not looking good. Hughes and Rogers. I'm not Rogers out in the way I was this time last week. So that's all I'll say on that one. Like I say, just call me, the Bryce Knickers. Just because Barnes grabbed Mendy, that's all. Did he grab Mendy?
I didn't see that. I didn't see it. I mean, I did see it.
Grab somebody that's behind you unless you put your arms right round like that. But if you're doing that, you can't jump.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to double see it, but for me, it was a pinpoint cross. Mendy came chasing out to try and punch it and got nowhere near it. Again, you may have seen a different angle to me and Chris, so if that's fair, I'd have to see it from that angle to see if he does. If he does, then
they obviously looked at it because they look at every goal, but.
Yeah, but it was ruled out before VAR, wasn't it? It wasn't VAR ruled out. The goal was never actually originally given, not even by the referee.
I don't know. It came up, as a goal on here.
Yeah, I don't think when I was watching. I mean, I the one I was watching wasn't in English, so I didn't have the joys.
No, mine was in Chinese hieroglyphics. Rico, sorry, even is it time for a change in the hot seat? Not yet. There's no point in bringing a new manager in when you're going to be playing Man United, Tottenham.
No.
You're not going to get any better. Those are just games that look. We're playing for. I'll just say we're playing 4 of the top 6 in the first 6 games. Let's just put a reality. I'm mad at the Stockport performance, the Brentford performance, and the Southampton performance. Yes, we weren't any good against Arsenal, but come on, look at the side they've got now. They're top of the league. You know what I mean? And this is a Chelsea side that they've got some good players. Brookline, there is one video showing Barnes with one arm across the broad back shoulder of the goalie, soft, but that was it. And Barnes with one arm across the. I don't know because he was in front of him, Barnes.
I'd have to see it to understand it because that sounds like he's a stretch Armstrong all of a sudden. Why would Barnes do that? Because there's no way he makes that header if he's trying to hook somebody from behind.
No, this is it. This is true. He's trying to make the header. It was crappy overturn. Watch Mendy was pushing Barnes backwards, and then they called a foul for Barnes for putting a hand on Mendy. That's BS to me.
It is.
I know you're in the goalkeepers union, but these goalkeepers, they've always said they are a little bit overprotected these days.
No, they're a little bit. They're very overprotected.
Gray's asking, are we missing Casper? He thinks yes. No. I'm going to say no. I mean, I can only say one mistake really that's cost us a goal that Ward's made.
Yeah, that was Arsenal, wasn't it? 3-1. Yeah. And to be fair, he keeps the ball in play. He can pick out a Leicester player when he distributes it from his goal kicks. There's a lot of things that Danny Ward does right that Casper frustrated us with. And look, Casper's a legend. He's moved on. His time came to an end there. He's gone to see out his days in France. All the best to him. Get behind Danny Ward because he only had 4 rugby games in the Premier League. Let's
he never let us down. I keep saying he never let us down in the cups. No. And he was dropped when we got, so far in the cups for Casper because we're in the big league, in the quarters now. LCFC believer in the second goal, Ward should have come out there to hit the ball. There weren't good communication. They lost Sterling. To my mind, a goalkeeper is only as good as the defence in front of him because you've got 4 players and the player gets past 4 and it's 1-on-1. Then, it's a big old goal for the goalkeeper to save. So, no, for the second goal, it was Castagna for me all the way. You
got 3 defenders. You feel confident enough as a goalkeeper. Trust me. So you'd be moaning them for not doing their job, to be honest with you, as a goalkeeper if you get scored past from that situation.
Well, we also have to believe Forever Fox, some saves that Ward made Casper can't do, and some saves that Ward can't do Casper can. That's the thing, exactly. Ward isn't good enough. Was Schmeichel last season? And I'm sorry, Gray. And I said this when we did the Snog, Marry, Avoid, and as in the keep, sell, or loan, that Casper had to go. I said, get him off the wage bill. He's one along with Vardy. He's a huge wage bill. And last season, let's be honest with you, I thought that every time we played, the opposition strikers had garlic round the neck because he was so afraid to come for crosses for whatever reason. No, his time was over. So,
and just to maybe try and shut that down about saying he's not good enough. Does anyone? You must all have short memories, or maybe the fond memories of Casper are so much that they put out the clangers of Casper because. I will tell you to go and watch a season in the Championship. I don't even think it was the season we got promoted. In fact, I think it was the season where before that or 2, before the promotion season, Doncaster had a corner. Casper came and collected it and spilt it in his own net. We lost that game. And everybody came out saying he's not good enough. He's not like his dad. He's never going to be that level. And fans were turning on him 6 weeks into or a season into Casper's reign, and look how his career's ended at Leicester. He's going down a legend. You can't just judge somebody on 4 games, especially when he made a couple of vital saves to stop us going 1-0 down before we did. So Give
You're going to look
it.
at Casper and you're going to say, oh, all these times he saved us. He played, he was hardly ever injured. Ward never had to come on for a Premier League replacement for him because he never got injured. Why was he never injured? You could obviously always ask, but I'm sorry, you know, do we still play him at 60 because it's Casper? I mean, good God, let's get Gary Lineker a pair of boots on. You know what I mean? What line says there? I feel 100% more confident on defending corners with Danny Ward. Totally Blue podcast is in. Good evening, sir. I somehow thought you might be in. I don't know if you're the Chelsea half or the Man City half of that Blue podcast. Either way, you both had a very good day today. David, I said this in your live stream, Chris, but he who shall not be named would have unfortunately made a difference for us today, as his aggression would have been made. Look, let's be honest. Yes, he would. If he was going to play like he could have played, you're not telling me. I'm not going to argue that he would have been better with Fofana. Fofana and Evans, better than Amati.
Yeah.
Fofana and Evans would have been always my first two. That would be my first choice for the two centre-backs. The youngster who likes to go forward, the old head that can control the back and stay back and cover him. Yeah. Unfortunately, even if he had been playing, would he have improved that? No. And I'll tell you why, because he wasn't up to playing, he said. Well, if he's not up for playing, he shouldn't be anywhere near the team. Quite right, as Brendan has done, sticking with the training with the under-23. So a fully focused, just signed a new contract, just back from injury, Fofana, yes, I would have him. The Fofana of today, no, he would not have made any difference. Gray says, yeah, but why did Casper suddenly leave just before the season started? Okay, he didn't come in a 6-yard area, but he hasn't played only this season. But Ward hasn't played only this season.
I'll tell you why. I can answer that, and it's quite obvious. Yes, Casper did want to stay, and Brendan was happy to have him as a number one. Nice were willing to offer him more money, which we weren't because of his age, and Nice were willing to offer him a contract that take him to be able to play or still get paid until the age of 38. Leicester were not. Leicester were only going to offer him a further 12 months. And we were potentially going to let him go on a free so he could go a legend and leave on his own terms, try and leave a hero and do one more season. He chose he wanted to play first team football and he wanted to go and have securities that he'd be able to be a number one somewhere for the foreseeable future. He thanked Leicester, Brendan thanked him for his work, but he wasn't going to stand in his way and wished him all the best. That's exactly why Casper left so suddenly, because he made the decision himself. He loved Leicester, he still loves Leicester. But 3 years and more money to see out their end of your career, or 12 months and no increase, you can see why he took that offer.
Do you know something, Brad? Sometimes you do talk sense.
I know, right? Sometimes I like to surprise myself.
We'll be right back after this.
In a world where cat videos and memes rule the feeds.
Watch us on YouTube. Listen on your favorite podcast platform or ask your smart speaker to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
Yeah, please do what it says there. All of them, if you would be so kind. Man of the match. I never thought I'd see this again before the end of the transfer window. Mr. Tielemans, and I have to be honest with you, I think he had a good game.
He did. He had a really good game. That's how you handle your time at Leicester. Little half rat, half snake corner. Anyway, sorry, it's just chesty cough, mate. But yeah, and again, I made the point about giving Amati a bit more time. He's warranted it from last season's performance. Me and you and anybody else that said it was rightly saying that he needs to be dropped, and it was good to see him not get picked for certain games because of his poor form. Well, come with the man, come with the hour. Today was the Yuri we all know and love. And guess what? There was no matters on the pitch. I tongue-in-cheek said about Gerrard and Lampard for England, but Madders and Yori on the same pitch don't seem to be able to do it. We had Dennis Pratt out there today, and he seemed a bit more of a freer man. It was a big positive from what was a very disappointing result. I won't say performance, because I think the performance was excellent. But the result-wise, it was a good.
Gray says that Tielemans is putting himself in the shop window. He certainly didn't do that against Tottenham. Against Arsenal, and that's the club that he wants to move to. He was absolutely awful for them. I have been very critical of his performance, but I'm not going to lie. Today, I've got to give credit where credit's due. I criticised him against Arsenal. I criticised him when he came on against whoever it was, Southampton. But today, he did the business. He did the business. I'm happy we fought all the way, says David, to the end and made them sweat. But I wish that after all was said and done, I wish we had at least drawn to make me feel better. We should have scored. And, we mentioned that earlier with Vardy. We don't need to go over that again. I agree with you, man of the match. Castagna for me, a close second, along with Barnes. Yeah, I do blame Castagna for the second goal. But aside from that, he didn't have a bad game. There's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. There's 5 days to go. And we are playing on that fifth day. So something might not be happening. So there might be 4 days left. Yuri was one hairline offsides away from another foul in the box. I must admit, he has started to kind of give one or two away.
Yeah, he's been a bit clumsy at times.
Yes, yeah. But anyway, these are the scores on the doors, Miss Ford. At 2-0, I thought, please don't score, Leicester. That's not because, and there's a lot of, I forget who it was now, but people were saying in the chat, oh, come on, I hope we lose because it will mean Rod Ranieri, bloody hell. Rodgers will go quicker. I never want us to lose because of getting the manager sacked. I always want us to win. But when it comes to getting 3 points in the prediction league, that's another story altogether. And at 2-0, I was on for 3 points, but I got 1 point. Craig didn't get any. Steve didn't get any, nor did Walshy. Marshall got 1 point with me. Jerry Taggart, spot on, mate, spot on. And Ian Wilson, not quite. He went for 3-1. Jerry Taggart won the damn thing last year, so I suppose in a way, he was always going to do well.
I might take a week off on these predictions show one time, and I want you to get Jerry. If Jerry's ever available for one, let me know, and I'll be ill that week. You can get him back on. He's good at this predictions malarkey.
He is.
Although I won last season as well, so I shouldn't be saying that, should I?
No, you shouldn't. No, stop gloating. It doesn't become you. David, agree. You're a man of the match. Oh, we've done that one. I'm sorry. Gray. Hopefully, Tielemans we can get back. I think we've done that one as well. Bookline. Yuri was. Oh, we've done that one as well.
Come on, Bennett, Chris. Come on.
Best players today: Barnes, Nacho, and Perez. Better because Madders was not in the team. I think you basically said that, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Seems to me he should be able to play better than he has. So it could be the formation is the issue with Yuri. Do you know? I mean, I must admit, sometimes I sit down and I'm thinking like, and when we're looking at teams and a preview with Craig on a Thursday night is we pick a team, and I sit there and thinking like, who am I going to put in? But if I put Maddison in, I can't put this guy in. There does come a point where we've got more players that should be playing than actually we've got spaces for. But
not easy anyway, to mark, is it?
No, it isn't. No, not at all. It is that time of the day, folks. Straight after this, we will be looking at Brad's tactics.
The Premier League is back, and we've got it all covered here on Leicester Till I Die TV. You are watching Leicester Till I Die TV with Chris and Chums. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. All you need for everything Leicester City FC. It's Leicester Till I Die TV.
And it's the time of the show when Brad turns into Chris Whitty, and he can sit there and go, next slide.
Yeah.
So, hey, everything's new for the new season. Do you like your new introduction slide there?
I do. I like that.
Tell you what, I did have to double check my spelling.
Yeah. I mean, probably better graphics than the ones I'm sending over currently, but there we are. But yeah,
well,
very
in fairness, I didn't do them from scratch. Okay, I do pay for a site that lets me put these things together, so don't be putting yourself down too much. Okay, so
I feel better for myself already.
Slide 1.
Well, as always, we talk about starting 11, and it was a slightly different formation today. We played the 4-1-4-1, not quite the 4-4-2 that we go on about a lot here. But yeah, it was.
Do we go on a lot about it?
Just a smidge.
Ladies and gentlemen,
England
will be playing 4-4-2.
You may be right.
But today we went about lining up probably a way you'd expect, being away from home. It was nice. First of all, I want to say it was nice to see Pratt get a start and Samore getting a start, especially given that Samore was apparently going to be going to Monaco. That's why he didn't feature at all against Stockport. Contrasting words today from Brendan. But yeah, it was a fairly strong lineup. I was happy to see we weren't risking Madders. That little rat boy was clearly never going to be playing, so we knew Evans and Amati was going to be the partnership. Some may have hoped to see Soyuncu after his performance against Stockport, but apart from that, it was fairly decent lineup. So, I mean, what did Leicester? How did Leicester get some form of positive play about it? Well, as you said, I would say, Chris. Next slide. We wait and abracadabra. As I can say, I'm going to break this down for you in threes. Leicester's triangle play. And I tried to do this and make it as visually obvious to everybody that's looking at the screen as it is. And as you can see, what I mean by the way Leicester do triangle plays is when they went through the middle, when they tried to match Chelsea through that middle and that opening half an hour until Chelsea were down to 10 men, they had a nice little triangle of passes. You can see there that Ward would distribute it to Amati. He's then got the option to distribute it across the pitch to Evans, or if he's being put under pressure, he could go to Ward. The game then advances where he could also turn the pressure and he can distribute the ball to Samore to play that hybrid role that Brendan was talking about, going from Ndidi to Telemans with Samore. And then that triangle then turns and focus is to Samore either spreading the ball forward to either Dewsbury Hall or Tillemans, or again, if he's pressed and hurried, he has the two options to return in Amati and Evans. And then again, that triangle comes up again with, say, Dewsbury Hall has the ball. It's easy for me to say, isn't it?
Yeah,
he has he has that slightly off-angle triangle, but he has the safety net in Samore. He has the chance to switch the play to the opposite side with Tillemans, and he's already got that front version option. In Vardy. That's how Leicester tried to do it through the middle. And as we'll see on the next slide here, the second part of how Leicester like to play triangles is this was a broader triangle where they tried to squeeze Chelsea and draw them in when they were down to 10 men and drag their midfield in and make that longer triangle. You may be thinking, Brad, that doesn't really look like much of a triangle, but that's A, because I can't really position that. I have to use my fat fingers to move players around. I can't get an exact line, but as you would see, the triangle kind of splits itself into two depending on what side it is. You know, if the ball's distributed out to the left, you found that Justin was offered the support of Barnes coming inside, Dewsbury Hall as the middle option, and Amati or Evans on the left, and vice versa on the right. Perez would cut in to become that easy option to keep the attack going forward with Castagne out on the wing. And basically, both wing backs had three options to go through to kind of paddle through that triangle. Imagine, if you will, that the first half of the line is one triangle and the up half between Dewsbury Hall. I'm trying to see what names I put in. Samore and Justin make up a form of one triangle. Justin, Samore, and Amati make up a second triangle. And then obviously, same on the other side with regards to Evans and Tillemans and Castagnet making one triangle, and Tillemans, Castagnet, and Perez making another triangle when we're in that final third. And the obvious one, which is he never disappears off these screens, you'll be glad to know, but the attacking final front triangle was Perez, Barnes pushing in to support Vardy in that attacking triangle. So how did that mix together on the pitch? Well, we'll see on this next slide, where Leicester playing triangles again. They weren't playing with a shape box, I swear to God, but this is how it expresses. And now you've seen them two slides, the middle and the width of how the Leicester play in these triangle gaps. You may be able to visually now see it more. You're noticing these triangles. You're noticing the Barnes and Kieran Dewsbury Hall and Justin on the left. You're noticing the Tillemans, Samore and Amate just behind that high press. You've got the reserve, the fail-safe in the Amate, Samore, Evans, who was the furthest anchored defender. You're probably noticing little triangles all over the pitch, and that's how Leicester like to go about their business, especially when they're playing in front. And that's how it looks when it comes together. You're talking the press, you're talking the counter-attack. That's how Leicester look on the pitch. They try and make triangle spaces for each other to pass into, so they've always got an option. They've got to get out of the jail to reset and restart the attack, and they've already got the people on the front foot to press it. And that's exactly what Leicester play in triangles means when I say, if you ever hear me say Leicester play in triangles. On to the next slide as we go here. Get straight into the second half. The chase, the change, and what went wrong. Well, let's get straight into the chase with this slide, shall we? Sterling added absolutely ruined whatever Brendan had planned, which was probably to tie Chelsea out, drag them around the pitch, try and nick a goal in that first 10-15 minutes, and then really, go at them, knowing that would stretch them even further. He completely ruined it by ballooning one into our top bins and then adding a second not long later. We risked too much on the ball. That led to the second goal. We talked about it all show, the frailties, the missed pass. Sometimes we were passing behind still. We weren't quite reading it. Someone got the wrong idea and went before they and didn't hold their run. And at pivotal points in the pitch, Chelsea were afforded the ball back and they punished us. Again, with that last point, that leading on to Chelsea exposing our weaknesses. So what did the change bring? Well, as we'll see on this slide, the change brought a change and a more aggressive change in shape. We stuck with the back four with a mindful push, because we had to shut that door at some point. We had to gain a bit of control back in that game, because we could have lost our heads and gone through it and lost that game 2 or 3-0 in the end. So we had to maybe not risk it all, which is why Justin and Castagnet maybe weren't involved as much. But as you can see there, the defence was a little bit higher up on the line. Samore was the solo anchor of that defence. Again, slight triangles around there, a bit more stretched because we had a bit more freedom on the pitch. But as you can see, we had Barnes, we had Tillemans, we had Dewsbury Hall, or wherever it was. And I know I didn't change the name, so I apologise. I tried to and edited and forgot to save it. But it was Iheanacho and Vardy up front, and obviously the changes that came on. It became a 4-1-3-2. And I would actually prefer Leicester to maybe line up that way to be aggressive from the front foot. If we're going to play 2 and not play the 4-4-2 Mike Bassett formation, that for me was very pleasing on the eye, because it seemed a lot more controlled and a lot less under each other's feet and as compact as that 4-1-4-1 became. And that's what the changes was. Ultimately, they came too late, but it was a lot more positive change. I will say this about Nacho, playing as a deeper striker in this role. He don't half get that ball to stick to his feet. He had some lovely jinking runs that he either just couldn't get the shot away and it got blocked, or his killer pass wasn't quite there. But I was very impressed in the shape change and what Brendan tried to do, which wasn't actually what we normally see. Yes, he made a sub after 55, 60 minutes, but he changed it and looked more aggressive instead of naturally, because we're losing, probably it influenced that, but instead of sitting back. So where did it all go wrong, and what is my final thoughts on the game? Well, first of all, my final thoughts are I'm disappointed but proud of the effort. The determination couldn't, unfortunately, paper over the frailties of our back. Although we seem to be handling corners better, that's always a plus. We're still obviously clearly having frailties at the back. They're desperate to push that ball out for a corner and not squeeze it through our box, ultimately led to the second goal, which we talked about today. The lack of confidence and conviction in the final thirds. We maybe tried to pass it once too many. Players didn't not having that confidence to have a shot themselves. I think it was very clear that, unfortunately, against a better quality opposition that punished these chances, it just wasn't going to be our day. And again, my final thought really, what the final effort was pleasing. Still, a lot of work is needed on these current and continued on-field issues. And he doesn't get away with it. I said I'd bring it up again, and I will. Vardy lost that killer edge, and I think he has. And if Brendan's not going to change to his system from one up front for Manchester United, I said that we might see this near the end of this season, and maybe Vardy would start and then pass the torch. And I know it might sound controversial and contradictory of what I said about Amate, but maybe this is a case to get the better out of Jamie Vardy and get his confidence firing. We start with Daka, we exploit his pace, and then we put Vardy on, and he can find goals against a more tired defence, and he can get goals under his belt and get his confidence flowing. I'm not going to shield him because he's a golden boy. I'm going to judge everybody fairly, but that's why it went wrong, unfortunately, again today. And that is my final thought of where it went wrong tactically for Leicester today.
No, as always, sir, very, very good. Gray says there Vardy should come off the bench.
Yeah, definitely agreed. I think it's time we make that transition. Maybe it should have been the transition started earlier, but I totally understand why Brendan's willing to show faith and a bit more time in allowing Vardy to get more 90-minute performances, especially when he signs a contract. He shows faith in that way.
Yeah. Right, you said you wanted to see it earlier, Brad, and there it is.
Yeah, it's not a foul. It's just not a foul. It's just not. I'm sorry, that is just not a foul for me. What is Harvey Barnes supposed to do? He's going for a ball that's on a silver platter for him, and Mendy's tried to punch it. Mendy's trying to come over the top of him and punch it. He's fucked up his lead. Well, he's looking at it saying we ain't got a lot of it at the moment. We ain't having much.
The funny thing is, looking at that, had Barnes not reached it and Mendy not reached it, and Martin might have knocked it in.
Well, I think he did off the line because it wasn't clear that it actually went in off the header. It came off the post and scrambled out. Now, whether it crossed the line or not is semantical, but Marty did follow that up. So, yeah, I would be very confident of knowing if that missed everybody and neither of them, went for it, that, Marty would have spanked that in the bottom corner. And then we're talking a different game, aren't we? That's what football is, essentially. It's,
Brad says, Terry, Vardy lost his edge and Daka never had it. Not that Daka played. I mean, I don't know if that's an overall assessment of Daka because he has got it. Just ask Moscow. And I know we keep going back to one game all the time, but, he
doesn't have it on a regular basis, but guess what? He's not going to get it on a regular basis until he's given the opportunity to get his killer instinct and set up in this division. And you can say, it's Manchester United. Well, he scored against Manchester United last time he played when we played him at King Power. So who knows? You can't keep saying forever he's going to sit on the bench and he'll have to wait his turn because he needs to be playing.
He does. And look what happened with it. When Nacho got regular games, he was our top scorer that season. So, we do know that the torch will be being passed.
Exactly. The torch is always passed, no matter what position it's on.
I don't remember Musa getting 4 goals in a game. He did get 2 against Barcelona in that Intercontinental Cup thing that we got dragged into as champions. But of course, it was never as good as Diabate because Diabate scored 2 against Peterborough, and Diabate was going to be the next best thing. The problem with Musa was he was never played in his rightful position.
No, that's true.
Yeah, he was played as a winger whenever he came on. Sorry, Brad.
I was just going to say, and again, it's easy to talk about someone who's getting bit part minutes, and like you just said there, also like Musa, when he has been on that pitch with Vardy, that's forced him to be played in a role that he's not comfortable with as that winger role. So how about we talk about where Daka is in the Premier League if he's given 10 games as the centre forward?
Somebody said that they should play Daka with Vardy, but Daka on the wing. Well,
he's ineffective there. He's ineffective.
I know. He's a goal scorer. What good's he going to do on the wing? But
he's
anyway.
Not got nimble feet in terms of step overs and fancy flicks like a right wing you can do. He's that burst of pace, take the ball, run it past you and slot it in like he has when he's on occasion when he scored for us.
If we get 80 million for Fofana, we've spent 20 million on this defender from Dortmund, and let's be honest with you, Dortmund do produce good players. Yeah. Maybe that'll leave us 20 or 30, then we can go and buy another player.
Maybe
a right winger. What a shame we didn't take the risk on Lookman, but
well, we did. Well, we wanted to, didn't we? Actually, in
fairness, yeah. But at the end of the day, you've got to say in the owners we trust. Exactly. Right, we're going to be grading the players right after this.
Hello, Matt Elliott here.
Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester LTIDtv
for all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels
for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Come on, you foxes!
Indeed. Please do as the ex-foxes say there and subscribe like they have to the channel. It is going to be much appreciated. Just a couple of points before we get on to this, Brad. Samari, this is on Sky News. Samari to stay and fight for Leicester place. Brendan Rodgers says Boubakary Samari will not leave Leicester this summer after deciding to stay and fight for his place. The midfielder enjoyed a disappointing debut campaign with the Foxes last season and was linked with another clubs. After the game, Rodgers said he came to me in the week and is very keen to stay. He enjoyed his pre-season. He didn't do much wrong today, did he?
No, he didn't. I'm very impressed with what I saw of him today. A lot of shots, we talk about Marte. I'm surprised a lot of people weren't going Samore when they saw him on the lineup over Ndidi, but I was very impressed with what I saw of him today, and long may it continue. It's funny how one player leaves and a dressing room suddenly feels the urge to stay. Yeah,
you wonder what goes on behind the scenes, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is. Because, it is, mate.
And as we said very, very quickly, that these things don't just blow up the first time we read them in the paper. We know that his agent would have been speaking to him and Chelsea for a long time before anybody ever knew about it. Maybe he's been a bit of a little naughty boy in the dressing room since then. But it's funny as well that we've got Pratt and we've got Samore who are both saying, hey, we want to stay here and we want to be part of this. So, maybe it's not all as black as it is painted. And I will say, let's look at Leicester after we've played Arsenal, Chelsea, which we obviously have now, Man United and Tottenham. Then let's have a look how our season goes. Obviously, we've got to play them again. We know that. But it is a tough start. And we always say we don't want a tough finish, but you've got to play them at some point.
Yeah, and Chelsea at home and Chelsea and Arsenal at home will be a different, you'd hope, given our season state at that point, would be a harder task for them, because we do have probably more favourable records over them at home than we have definitely away over history, but in recent years as well. So you go into that, depending on our confidence and form, obviously, feeling a bit more optimistic about getting something from them at home when the time comes.
Yeah. Samore wanted to stay and fight for his place, or yet another club not prepared to pay his inflated wages.
You're never going to please everybody, are you?
You're not. You're not. No, you're not. Quite right. Sorry, Terry. Rodgers, no one benefits if Fofana deal drags on. Brendan Rodgers says he wants a quick resolution to Wesley Fofana's future, adding that nobody benefits of the saga dragging on. Quite right. Let's get it sorted. Let's get him go. And I'm going to file this in the number, I suppose it's the number 785,456 in the state in the bloody obvious bin. But Gary, what's he called? No, Scott Parker. He has come out and said decisions must be made over the makeup of the Bournemouth squad. No shit, Sherlock.
Well, I tell you what, though, South Coast watching Southampton fans must feel a bit more relieved today. They can finally. They're not the only team suffering with 9-0 jokes now, are they?
No, they are not. But to be honest with you, I'm sorry, Scott.
You want the truth? You want the truth? You can't handle the truth!
I don't think you can. But that is very much his sort of, that's straight out the Brendan book, isn't it? That one.
Yeah.
Right, we'll come on to what the managers have saying after, but let's get on to a little bit of a. Let me just bring the details up here, and we'll go through the players. And when I say we're going to give them the ratings, of course, I did lie, because you are going to give them the ratings. And why have I just clicked on Liverpool? That was because I was talking about them.
Yeah, we all make mistakes, mate, when we talk about things.
Maybe I was just wishful thinking. I thought 9-0. Well, we all know who man of the match was overall. Was Sterling. He got, but then again, that was Chelsea, obviously, fans voting for him. So I'm going to put everybody here on.
Well, BBC London Sport were definitely getting the votes in for that game, even if there's a lot. We probably picked Chelsea man of the match.
We do. We'll never know, Terry. We do have to accept it, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I'm going to make this screen bigger so that I can see the players, so I know who I am moving around. So we'll come back at the very end when we've done them all and look at your votes if you want to have a vote as well. So can't do that because that covers that over. That one, there we go. Okay, so the first player on here, bloody hell, I can't even see on this, to be honest with you. Right, let's go for Ward. I can tell Ward.
Honestly,
and what we got this time, Brad, because I know the last few times you did get slightly confused with having a U in there, but let us go and have an A, B, C, D, E this week. Can I just say the game of the day on Sky is Liverpool versus Bournemouth? Who knew? So we don't have a U here. We just basically have an A straight down to an E.
Okay, well, that helps. It does confuse it, and it always baffles me that it's done this way. But the green's at the bottom and the red's at the top, and everybody obviously...
I can't do that. I have tried to change them.
I know, it's weird how that's... that wasn't at you. That was more...
No. I agree totally. You would have thought it was the other way around. But whatever you put in those columns, it's always red down to green, then down to... Oh, it's
no
worry. Yeah.
No, it's fine, mate. Honestly, he made some good saves in the first half. He made some good saves in the second half. He must be cursing his luck right now with both goals. In my opinion, the deflection that hooped it into the top corner, and the defensive panic that saw that ball go across the 6-yard box without a care in the world. I don't think he could do much wrong. I actually thought he had a solid game, and I'm going to give him a B.
You're going to give him a B. Okay. Oh, why isn't this working? Hang on. I know why this isn't working. Bear with me, callers. Your calls are really appreciated. You're going to give him a B. There we go. If I actually try and do it on the right screen, that would probably help, wouldn't it?
It would. Really would, mate.
I think so. Yeah. Okay. Then we've got, let's go through this, Daniel Amati.
We say this a lot this season, but I do feel sorry for Marty. I know he kind of shuffled over to his right, but because of the way Leicester play, where one of them anchors back, where, you know, when Leicester press between Evans and Amati, they anchor back, and I think sometimes, again, that desperation to want to make sure they squeeze an opposition out and don't get the chance, and inevitably this time. It led to a goal on one occasion for us. He does get a lot of stick. I think he's almost a scapegoat. I'm gonna give him a D though. I have to give him a D because as much as I admire his effort, he didn't help causes at time, and he was at fault for a few chances today that Chelsea cut us open in that first half, even with 10 men, with him being out of position. So I have to give him a D rating.
Yeah, that's fine. And just say, if you do want to comment as we go along, I've actually realised now I can see what you're saying. So please do feel free to comment as we go along. Like I say, these are your choices. I think I've only overruled you once. Sorry, let me just have a look on a different screen. And we are looking at Harvey Barnes.
Got a little bit figured out near the end in terms of he didn't look comfortable trying to go between cutting in and going out, but overall a decent game. I'm going to give him a C. I think it was a good game. I don't think it was one of his best games, but he's still an improvement over what we've seen recently, but he's still got a little bit of work to do. He's still not quite as versatile as I think Leicester fans and Brendan likes him to be. But yeah, a decent enough game for me.
Yeah. Just remind me next week, Brad, not to do these as circular because we do lose the top of the heads, as you've said before. Book line, there's only an American could look at this and go, there's A, B, C, D, and E, and says, I'll give him a B+.
There's always one in there. They always have to be difficult, these Americans.
Always the Americans. Sorry, book line. Sorry, mate. We
did numbers and they did grades, didn't they? Of course, they have to be fancy with the grades on it.
Oh, dear. Castagna.
I've got to give him a B. He wasn't as involved in the attacking sense in the second half, but that was when we changed the shape. So that was kind of, he was given more of a conservative role. So taking that on board, I'm going to give him a B. He was on the front foot of a lot of things that were good in a lot of senses, and his defensive duty. I give him a mistake for the goal, but I still think that one little blotch doesn't deserve him to be any lower than a B for me. I always like Castagna when he's playing for us because he always seems to give what he can to the cause. So a B for me.
B. The man who is our wonder wall, Mr. Dewsbury Hall.
Showed great passion as always. Very committed. Made some very good tackles. Showing he's developing well, showing he's learning ever more each game. Did not look like a small fish in a big pond playing up against Chelsea. Definitely didn't look out of sorts. Wasn't able to be his most creative and lung-bursting run today, so I'm going to give him a C, but still a very good game.
Okay. Hello to James. Welcome into the chat, young man. And thank you, as you say there. Hit the likes and subscribes. Bookline, Amarty's covering for Evans, C+. Right, Bookline. You now. I'm not going to read you out now because you're just you're doing this on purpose to me. You really are. Okay. After have we just done Dewsbury Hall?
Yeah.
We then have Mr. Johnny Evans, our captain.
People don't like him. For some reason, I think his age and he shouldn't be on pitches hoofing it up. And I keep defending the fact that he's the anchor. He's doing his job. Brendan's using him and his experience to try and be that break in case of emergency situation. I think he had a solid game. I think he commanded the team well, commanded the defence well. And I'm going to give him a B. I was impressed with Johnny Evans today. I really was. And
I agree for you. You can't have two attackers. You can't have two attackers that are always going forward. And we saw last season that we do. Sorry, I'm just been distracted because it should have been 10-0. Liverpool have just did have a goal disallowed.
Bloody hell.
But yes, Johnny Evans, he's Mr. Reliable. Let's be honest with you, he's got the experience. He's played for Man United and I think Chelsea did it well. He knows what he is doing. And yeah, he should be captain and he should be on the pitch.
Yeah.
Sumare. Whoa.
Well,
Sumare. No,
came back into the squad after everything that's been said and swirling around over these last 6 months, pretty much since he walked through the flipping door. To be fair, he's been told he's going out as a club, almost like they accidentally press accept on the deal instead of telling them they didn't want him anymore. I don't know, but Samora played well. Good to see him get some minutes. Did not again shock on the pitch, but played really well. I'm going to give him a C. I'm going to give him a C because he didn't get the full 90, but he did well for how long he was on there.
Yeah. David says Evans a C for me. Too slow on the ball, regardless of being our anchor. Slows down their attack. Without Fofana, who had no centre back who was progressive. We're not going to argue with that because
you're not wrong. And Dave's not wrong that he's too slow on the ball, but he's 30. He's not there for his pace. He's there for exactly. I don't know if the grasping of the understanding of an anchor is to hold that ball up and not move, because an anchor doesn't really move when you put it in the ground. It's there to distribute. He's there as in football in terms to calm the ball, have time on the ball, be able to stroll out with it, which he has been, has been allowed to do when he's been used as the 20-yard pass back. And that's his job. He's just doing his job. Leave the poor old guy alone. He's trying really hard. And he's doing a good job, in my opinion. Dave, it's your opinion. You're totally entitled to it. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate with your own comment there, mate.
KDH, B for me. The reason being he so outplayed Gallagher that the red card was reduced because he was so outclassed. Right, well, let's move on. And the next player that's coming up is James Justin.
Probably one of his best games. I mean, you're talking somebody who ran ragged and showed that they were up for the fight and commitment to get Leicester out of this dark space they're in terms of the headspace, the performances on the pitch and the results. I never thought I'd do this for a defeat, but I'm going to give him an A. I thought he was outstanding. And I'll touch on this at the end if we speak about Brendan for a rating at the end for why I'm giving him an A. I thought his effort and his grit and determination and his encouragement when it wasn't going right for us was next to brilliant. So, yeah, for me, he actually gets an A.
I'm not going to do a rating for Brendan because I did think about it. We said it last week, didn't we? But I just think it caused too many arguments. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be totally and honestly honest with you here. And I just had another one disallowed as well, Liverpool. So it could have been 11-0. Right, when I was going through the players who had appeared on the pitch to put them on here ready to do this, I did not even realise that this guy was on the pitch. And that's Ndidi.
Yeah, came on as a sub. It was more for tired legs, and we know he likes to get forward and can get forward. Misconception.
89 minutes. I mean,
yeah, again, but it's tired legs. I mean, I'd rather have a charging Ndidi going at it than absolutely on his arse, nothing left, absolutely spent. Tielemans on the pitch, as brilliant as Tielemans was, and we'll get onto him in a second or two, I'm sure. But I agree with you. Didn't really. I can't really give him an E because it wasn't over an extended period of time. It was a blip, but he does get a D for me. I can't give him a low grade because it wasn't enough time. It's not fair. But he didn't do. I agree with you. I heard his name be mentioned as the Tannoy announcer said he was coming on, and then he might have touched the ball 3 times. But
would you not have thought that at that point, 89 minutes, 2-1, it is all us, and you're going to take Tielemans off? Why put a defensive midfielder on? Why not put Daka on?
Again, yeah, I'd agree with you. Why not put Daka on? But again, yes, he is notoriously a defensive midfielder, but he can move that ball forward quickly and he can travel with that ball quickly. And the way Leicester were playing, he was picking up the ball already in Chelsea's half, or at worst on the halfway line. And if he's using that freshness, which he didn't, unfortunately, wasn't able to give the ball in that play to do so. And let's just say hindsight's a wonderful thing, but let's say hypothetically, right? he did do that, and he either threaded the ball through him and we got a goal from his pass, or he took a wonderful Wilfred screamer and hit the top corner like he does. He likes scoring past Chelsea. We'd be sitting there going, Wolf came on and saved the day. It was just one of them, unfortunately. You know, it was one of them where you just got the feeling it weren't going to happen, and unfortunately, this ploy didn't work for Brendan, and it didn't work for Leicester. But yeah, he gets a D because he didn't have enough time to do anything, unfortunately.
I'm scared about asking this. Perez.
You know what? I take the same approach as you, and I always said I still don't think he's good enough to match Leicester's ambitions as a player of quality for the top 6 or 7. But credit where it's due. Didn't really do much wrong. Tried to get himself in good positions. Caused chaos at the bench. Press. I gave him a C. Didn't do anything too standoutish to get higher than a C, in my opinion, but he was close. He did. I think he had a good game. But for how
I think, didn't he?
I think he was quite unfortunate to be the 1 or 2 players that were taken off to change things up. Obviously, 2 people have to be when them subs were made, but I think he was doing all right.
Right, now I have put I said Sumare earlier, didn't I?
Yes.
Okay, in that case, let's put Sumare there because it was Inacho earlier.
Oh, but yeah.
Okay, so let's do Inacho now then.
You know what? I'm going to give Inacho a C. Had he been on longer and kept playing the way he was playing, he probably would have been talking to B. But he plays that false 9 role that he's had to adapt over the coming years since Brendan's been at the helm. And he, again, we talk about some players never seem to let you down, always reliable. But recently, when he's come on, he's always done a good job. Held the ball up well. You know, had some, maybe it was unintentional, but he certainly made his feet look like the ball was sticking to him at times. Made some lovely mazy runs. And kind of the forehead behind a few attacks in that bombardment of their goal near the end. I'd have given him a B if he'd have found the bloody back of the net. In fact, I'd have given him an A if he'd have found the back of the net when he pulled the trigger. But you know, he gets a C. Or for our American friends, he gets a C plus.
Well, no, in fairness, I've just realised, and I'm going to go through all of them at the end again. That I actually think that what Bookline is doing is B- and then his comment. So I don't think he's giving minuses and plus, because otherwise everybody's got a minus.
Just to appease him, I'll say it's a C plus.
Okay, so Mr. Pratt got the first game this season.
Yeah, good to see Pratt getting some minutes. Again, a player, we talk about Sumare today. He's a player that joins that list of players that have come out recently and said they are happy to come and fight for their position. And I know Terry made the point, are they doing it to get themselves in a shop window or whatever, but time will tell. But yeah, I was happy to see him. Again, a little bit like Sumare. I feel a bit sorry for him, even though it was pretty obvious that he was going to get taken off. You're not going to take Tillemans off when he's playing like that. But when the changes were needed, when Chelsea got themselves in front and quickly doubled it, that he had to come off. So I can't give him more than a C, but I was very happy with what I saw of him. I think Pratt will take a lot of confidence with that performance.
I agree with you there, definitely. Mr. Tillemans, now the gentleman that goes and does our reports for us at the match, Mr. Bennett, we're keeping it simple this season. I've not asked him to grade the manager or the performances, so he's just picking man of the match, and he quite clearly went for Tillemans.
Yeah, and you know what? It's not just a complete transformation in performances gone by. He really was the general there, and well, maybe there is something in that you can't play Madders and Tillemans on the same pitch. A lot have argued that once Leicester get going, you probably can, but I think when you're stuttering, I think you've got 2 players on there that have the same similar mindset. They want to take the game by the scruff of the neck. They want to be the guy that that can say, come on, I've got the goal, I've got an assist, that's got us back in it, that's got us in front. And I think sometimes that doesn't always conjoin together and they get in each other's way. Again, like I said, confidence flying high, they can work together. We have seen that, but that probably helped Tillman today. And it'd be weird of me to agree with Alan and say he's man of the match and not put him at the highest mark of all the players. She's got to get an A for me. He was back to his own. He looked happier. And again, we talked about the negativity and the slumped shoulders of players. Today, the attitude was a lot better from players as well. I thought, well, I'd say, he gets an A.
Yeah,
because he has to.
That is how you, Mr. Fofana, how you behave when you want to move. Mr. Vardy, last one here.
I'm going to give him an E.
I did wonder, to be honest with you, and I can't say I disagree with you, Brad.
Yeah, and again, before people go all sentimental and start going, how dare you say that about Vardy? Am I saying he's the shittest player ever? No, but he had a bad game. And just because he's an absolute legend, and I repeat what I said earlier, just because he's an absolute legend, an absolute hero to us Leicester fans, and he will be, when our generation, his generation is long gone, he'll be fondly remembered by Leicester fans for generations to come.
Yeah.
But he had a bad game. He had 3 gilt-head chances. All right, that one where he decided to round Mendy maybe made that harder on himself, but it wasn't the clearest of chances. That first one he had, definitely the second one. I was already half celebrating. I was so natural, and Jamie Vardy tucking at least one of them away. I was like, shit, when he missed. And I was like, and he had a bad game. And we'd be screaming and shouting and saying exactly the same at Nacho and Daka. They missed them chances. So unfortunately, golden child, legend of the club or not, he gets an E for today's performance. He was not at the races today at all in front of goal, unfortunately. And you can't sit there, and nobody can sit there and say he wasn't given the chances. Well, he was given the chances today and plenty of for what Jamie Vardy usually requires to get a goal. And he let himself down today, so that's why he's a lower rated.
Okay, I agree with all of your ones there, Brad. I think you've hit it dead on the thing here. Right, let's catch up with what people actually did vote. Let me just have a look. Where are we? So, Ward, we gave him. Well, we'll ignore the B+1. Amate is covering for Evan's slowness. C. David, agree with Castagna, a B. KDH, a B for me also. Brookline, B, great goal. Maybe he was doing these things. I'm just ignoring them. I'm just giving you the letter that you've given. Evans, a C for me, too slow on the ball. I think we said that one, didn't we? Castagna, a B. KDH, B for me. Brookline, Evans, a D. Anchors way down ships. We'd have lost by a lot more if Evans hadn't been there today.
Anchor's whole ship stable, mate. That's what they actually do.
Yeah, good point. Evans reads the game well, but isn't exactly quick. Well, you can't have both. Yeah. He's there to do a job, and it is experience. We've not got him for speed. We had Fofana for speed. He's shit on us and gone off. So let's, get somebody else in that can give us the speed. David, I compare Evans to Thiago, who was a mirror image to him for Chelsea. To me, Thiago was more impressive in everything he did, but appreciate your explanation of why you had him as a B. Tielemans is Leicester's Cafu. Oh, JJ is Leicester's Cafu. Sorry, Ray. Brad agrees. Terry agrees with you, Brad, for JJ. Justin, a B, says Bookline. He will find his moments of quality soon. Terry, Chris, I thought Tielemans was slightly limping. Why it was indeedy, I don't know. I think Brad has kind of, covered that. Nacho B looked dangerous. He does when he comes on, which is what I don't get it. We know what he can do when it's, when he's on for a good run of games. Pratt F, Brookline. Poor guy gets his first start, but played out of position. I thought he had a decent game.
I thought so, but again, it's perspective of how you see the game. So, fairs.
Tielemans C should have had a penalty. Played better after Chelsea lost to midfielder. Oh, Brad, you summed it up correctly for me. JJ and Tielemans joint man of the match. Vardy D. Perez A from Brookline. No, he has qualified that with a ha 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 ha. In fairness, but
no, I'll go back to your American schools, you and your grades. So I never like to make up mine.
I still think you're gonna get a double one here.
I like that tune. I like the cat loud tune.
I do. You get the bit. I probably get done for playing it.
The problem is it always runs out.
Well, I got a bit of time on my hands, so I thought I'd do it.
I did that when I was cooking.
Overall, a much better performance. Yep. So we've caught up. Yeah. So there we go. I'm just going to read out a few points before we go, and that is what the managers have been saying. Leicester City manager Brendan Rodgers speaking match of the day. I thought we were good in the game and there were lots of really good moments for us. We just started the second half too passively. We weren't aggressive enough. When you go against the side that goes down to 10 men, it can be difficult. So to go 2-0 down was a real challenge. Now, you shouldn't go 2-0 down to 10 men, but there we go. Tuchel, Tuchel, you know what I mean. Tuchel, Chelsea looking not to concede the equaliser. Now, you know, when your opposition manager comes out and says that, you've got to be doing something right. Rodgers is saying passive Leicester lacked aggression. Ooh. No, don't know about that. And that basically, ladies and gentlefolk, is it. So we are being punished for all of Chris's Ted Lasso joke, said Brookline. Oh, Leeds are back to form. Leeds are back to the form today. It couldn't go on forever with an American manager. I jest, Brookline. I jest. You know I like you. Brad, thank you so much, sir.
No worries, mate. I've enjoyed it as always.
A matter of opinion, that is your channel. What do you know what you got planned for us next week yet?
No, I've got a couple of ideas. I'm fighting between which one to do. I might talk about myths and legends. Talk about Nessie and Area 51.
You know what? When you said that, then I'm thinking, I know what MILFs are. I know what wags are, but what's a myth? Myths and legends.
I mean, both are classed as being myths, aren't they? I suppose you could look at it that way. Yeah, I'm just going to see what people's opinions are on ancient history and what do they think to these rumours of Bigfoot and Yeti. Do they believe in them? Do you believe in aliens? Do you believe in swamp monsters? That might be where I go with this show. But yeah, just follow me on. Follow me on Twitter at All Time Focus and click the YouTube link that's in my bio. It will take you to a channel called
Please do not tell me you were doing that on Thursday night at 8 o'clock.
No, I'm gonna. That would be my regular time, Thursday at 8. But I will have to do that before because there's a certain team playing on a Thursday.
Yeah, I did wonder whether you'd realise that. So let me know the time. I will try. I do like a good myth, and a good what's the other thing? A conspiracy theory.
Yes, a conspiracy. Yeah.
Yes. Terry's off. Thanks a lot, Terry, for being in. We do appreciate it. Yeah, do please keep hitting the like. So, a matter of opinion, get over there and support Brad on his YouTube channel. It is a good channel for discussion. Now he's got his lights working. And also check out Full Time Focus on Twitter as well. All one word, Full Time and Focus. And that's where you can find him on Twitter. Mate, thank you so much. I will see you Bank Holiday Monday if you are free for at 6 o'clock for the double prediction show.
Yeah, I will see you then, mate, for a double header, and looking forward to that.
And yeah, I feel there might be a lot of cutting off in there because we've got 20 games to get through and only a couple of hours to do it.
I'll be saying my scoreline. I won't be doing a Steve when he talks about Tottenham. I'll be saying my scoreline and getting through what we can as quickly as possible.
Both will. And we've got Rob Tanner up at 9 o'clock on Monday. We're going to find out a lot about what's going on. And we'll go through his article for The Athletic, which was very, very good. Gray is out with the missus on the bank holiday. I get it, mate. I get it. You've got to give them a bit of time, haven't you? You know what I mean? Otherwise, they do get a little bit upset. But Brad, have a good Sunday, mate.
I'll try, mate.
Formula One, if you are, enjoy it. And if not, I will see you, like I say, 6 o'clock on Monday. Take care, buddy.
I'll take you there. Take care, everybody.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
But before that, at 6 o'clock on Monday, we've actually got a show at 4 o'clock on Monday. Oh, you can't get enough of me. Not only sloppy seconds, but tantalising thirds as well. At 4 o'clock, we are doing the shirt show. We'll be looking at all the 3 shirts for all the teams that have got 3 shirts out. If they haven't, they're going to lose points because they don't get any points for not having a shirt out. And we'll be looking at home, away, and third shirts for all the Premier League clubs. That's at 4 o'clock on Monday. 6 o'clock, it's the prediction show. Hopefully, Steve Lynex, if he's not working, will join us. And Brad there as well. And then at 9 o'clock, I say it is Rob Tanner talking what is going on at Leicester. Okay, so Gray admits he agrees with me. A couple of things for you to do, housekeeping rules. Please do what it says there and subscribe. Really do appreciate that. We are trying to get to 1,500. It's been a bit slow on the subscriptions today, but if you can subscribe, we'll be absolutely so grateful. Smash the likes as well. No, Gray, it's definitely not one of those. Also, if you've got a spare 5 minutes, please do this. And that's the wrong one. That is the wrong one. That was still Brad's show. It was because it was white and black. Do this if you get a spare couple of minutes. footballcontentawards.com/voting. Vote in the Football Content Awards 2022. Best new content creator. It's top right. Just stick Leicester Till I Die TV in there, and I'll be your best friend forever. Have a great Sunday. If you're going to watch the Formula One, enjoy that. If you're not, just enjoy being with the family. Whatever you do, remember, though, please do stay safe. And, of course, don't do anything I wouldn't enjoy. Thanks for watching. Everybody who's been in the chat, really appreciate that as well. And if you've lent me your ears and listened on your favourite podcast platform, that is more. Have your ears back. Take care. Good night.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
Sam Skinner on the pitch, they think it's all over.